Hello everyone, this is AWD. I'm doing something that I'm not really used to doing, a vlog. So let's call this the odd vlog. Not a very original name, but let's just go with it for now. I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these sort of things. I don't often do vlogs. I like to do more and just kind of like talk and just talk about what's going on, see where it goes. And this is a little unorthodox because I'm doing a kind of recording no-no, and I'm using my webcam instead of my usual Canon camera. But with my setup right now, I don't have a very sturdy mic stand at the moment, and I'm in the process of getting a new one because I got one of these things for my Yeti microphone. It is it's something to keep the echo from happening with my microphone, and it's like I forgot what it's called, but it's like a padded thing, a padded wall to keep the echo from bouncing off and showing up, and it definitely helps the quality of my microphone recordings. And I need to thank Josh Tomar, who is a fantastic voice artist, and he's helped me suggest one of these things. So we'll see how it goes. But I will need a new mic stand because this one right over here. Um, this one is a little flimsy and will not be able to hold up this gigantic thing, which is heavier than the mic. The mic itself is already pretty heavy, so it's gonna just collapse at some point or just fall forward. There needs to be some sort of balance. You'll notice um, my closet back there is basically just my storage for all the crap that I have. Uh, It's yeah, it's very awkward. You can discuss it if you like. There's like some Z-bots back there. I actually have a Yu-Gi-Oh figure somewhere. It's actually over there, but I'm not going to show it off. Yeah, but that's it. Just it's just background stuff, and also my printer is covered by a Mario blanket that I've had for years. So, yeah, and also the lighting is really weird. I tried to do the best I could. This is the best it's gonna get. So, enough discussing about that. Let's talk about stuff, other stuff. So, my friend, who I'm very happy to call my friend, Martin. You may know him as Little Karibo. He's the guy that made the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. I'm not a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Myself, but hey, he made it funny. I always love it when people can make something really hilarious, and so he also does the Mark Remark, which is another thing. Like I'm not into wrestling, but hey, he makes it funny. So if you can make it funny and entertaining, and it's something that you don't necessarily you aren't necessarily into yourself, then hey, you're doing a good job. So, and also a series called We're Still Here, which is it's chronologizing his bout with depression, which we can honestly, all of us can say we have bouts of depression, and that's I really do um, have the highest regards for him in that, because it's a way to it's kind of an outlet for all of us to kind of like go in front of the camera and speak publicly to people that we don't know or have never met, and that's a feat. That's something that I think people don't see that as being a strength in some way. But it's one of the most I think it's one of the most powerful things that we can do, to express ourselves, openly and in an honest regard. And I think that's more of that takes more courage than anything else that I could really say. So kudos to him. And the reason why I mention this is because I don't want to step on his toes either, because his latest video was him discussing something he was very passionate about, Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is something I'm really passionate about. And the funny thing about that is when that video came out, before I was kind of discussing with myself how much Mystery Science Theater 3000 means to me. So that kind of put another step in which, like, I kind of want to I want to be open about that myself. I want to talk about the things that I like, and see where it goes from there. And maybe it'll cause some more discussion about what we like as a whole. And what I want to talk about is Mystery Science Theater 3000 and my first experiences, which actually goes back pretty far. I think the show has been around since 1989 when it showed up on KTMA. Uh, I have like a vast knowledge of Mystery Science Theater, but I'm not like an expert. I will never say that I'm an expert of anything, because as soon as you say you're an expert, people will come up to you and say, it's like, hey, what was that one thing from episode 407, and what was the behind the scenes experience in that? How am I supposed to know? I I don't look this stuff up. I just enjoy it. Uh, well, anyway, getting back to that, I think it was around early 1990s, probably 94, 95. It was when Joel was still around in the show, and Comedy Central was a thing that was beginning, or they had shows like Monty Python's Flying Circus, The Benny Hill Show. I don't know if The Kids in the Hall was airing around the same time, but I do know that was one of the shows that I really like to watch on Comedy Central. And what else? Those were all really strong shows that I grew up with, and with the friends that I've had in school, we've all kind of quoted that constantly, as well as really enjoying old Saturday Night Live episode broadcasts. So Comedy Central back then was just really just, to me, it was more fun to watch because it was kind of my way of growing up to comedy, which is really weird to say. I don't know. I love cartoons and everything, but Comedy Central is really what opened me up to sort of humor. I mean, cartoons are pretty humorous itself, but I mean, this is more like maybe a more adult humor, I should say. Adult in a way that is more sophisticated, I should say, not mature, like, constant fart jokes and sex jokes and whatever is now popular on Comedy Central. I have no idea. I don't have TV. But yeah, I would watch episodes every now and then on cable, and I was always wondering what it was. It was like this channel that would show a movie and would have like these little talking heads on the bottom of it. And I noticed that while I was watching these movies, like, God, these are terrible movies. But these little silhouettes on the bottom were making it really funny. They were saying like little things in between lines that are just really humorous and just kind of like putting the movie in a different direction. And since then, I have been trying to do that myself with, kind of in my own way. There is a recording. I used to have like a little recorder. Do you ever? I think some people might know this, but when Home Alone came out, there was like a recording device where you can put a cassette tape in there and then record and then play it back and stuff like that. Well, this was kind of like the real version of it. I mean, this was made for Home Alone to kind of like, the toy that they would sell at the time this movie came out. So I had this recording device, and I recorded myself sort of semi-riffing and talking over the movie Tron when it was playing one time. And it's weird because I heard that back about a couple years ago, and I was thinking to myself, like, did I really think I was that funny? This isn't funny at all. But then again, it's like I'm not looking at the movie while listening to this. I'm listening to the sound, which is mostly hisses and screaming and stuff like that. And once in a while, this child spouting out something like, "Oh, that's gotta hurt," or whatever I would think was funny at the time. I would also quote Space Ghost Coast to Coast a lot because that was also around at the time. But yeah, it was very difficult to kind of figure out when Mystery Science Theater was on because we didn't have a TV guide, and Comedy Central kind of like threw the time slot around quite a bit. So I was having difficulty trying to find ways to play it, and I didn't have the internet at the time. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what this passing of the tapes thing was, which years later I would learn to find out that there was like a whole group of people that would just reminisce about episodes and then start passing tapes around of episodes so other people would be more exposed to this, which is awesome. I wish I knew about that when I was first finding out about it, but um, yeah, it's like every now and then I would watch an episode, probably early in Saturday morning. I would miss my cartoons for it, which is fine. I would rather watch Mystery Science Theater than what was it, Dumb and Dumber the cartoon. It was a thing. Everything Jim Carrey was on was a cartoon. And then it moved to. I think I missed like an area where they transitioned from Comedy Central to uh, uh, to Sci-Fi Channel because I think there was a movie that was barely advertised. I heard about it once, and that was when they weren't in theaters anymore. And by that time, when the movie was over, they transitioned to Sci-Fi Channel, and they had like a whole new thing, um, and started working off of that sort of thing. And that went on for three more seasons. And I think I was more exposed to those episodes because they would play those more often than when Comedy Central had it. But from time to time, I would still, once in a while, I would see a Joel episode, and which I know there's a big to do about which do you like, Mike or Joel, and honestly, they're both great in their own regards. I don't want to get into that sort of mess. I know there's a lot of heated drama and debate about it, but they're both awesome in my book. They all have their strengths and their weaknesses, along with the guys that played Crow and Tom Servo and to a lesser extent Gypsy. But they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, when the Sci-Fi Channel stopped airing them, that's when I started to pursue the show a little bit more. That's when the internet was a little bit more prominent, and I would say that downloading the episodes, while it took forever to do, which was a feat that I somehow accomplished at some point, I kept every episode on file since then, and I've been just watching them on loop and on random over and over and over again since then. And the thing that is really important to me about Mystery Science Theater is that it honestly is a way to cope with uh, uh, kind of like, there's so many bad things out there in the world, and it's really hard. I'm a very it's very hard to admit this, but I'm a very paranoid person. I'm kind of always worried about things. I turn off news radio uh, when I go to work sometimes because I can't deal with the stress of worrying about things out there wanting to hurt you and everything. And I know that's a reality. There are, really cruel people. I deal with it almost every day on the road. There are people that are just, I don't know what's going on, but they need a hug. But you have to excuse me too. I'm a little sniffly. Uh, Mystery Science Theater, when I watch it's just like it's really heartwarming to me. It's something that has always cheered me up. It's And talking about this, it's probably going to tear me up because thinking about how much of a powerful thing it is to be, and in itself, you have to think about it. They make light of terrible things. It's kind of, it's almost an analogy in itself. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you think about it. These are terrible movies. I mean, just horrible. You know, I don't want to say abominations. I mean, people put their heart and soul into a lot of these movies, and ultimately they realize, okay, we goofed up. We were, or they weren't trying at all, and just said like, hey, here's a movie, let's throw it out. I have no idea what these people were thinking, but when we as an audience watch it and we see this bad thing, it's not so much that we want to, you know, tear it up. We want to make light of it. We want to say it's like, this isn't so bad after all if we have a bunch of friends around and talk about it and have just poke fun, and that's why I love to riff on everything even I do. There isn't even good things I can't help but make a joke about. The it's observational humor that really just makes things a little bit more brighter to me, and that's why Mystery Science Theater means so much to me because it cheers me up in like the worst cases, and there has really honestly been nothing out there in terms of entertainment since Mystery Science Theater that has made such a powerful impact in that regard. So going from that to talking about my inspirations, Joel Hodgson, Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, Bill Corbett, Trace Beaulieu, Frank Conniff, Mary Jo Pehl, J. Elvis Weinstein. These are all wonderful people that I've grown to appreciate what they do because they make light of such terrible things. Um, so, excuse me a minute. So, talking about after my experiences, what I did after realizing that years ago, I made caricatures of all of the characters in Mystery Science Theater. I tried to get at least all of the most well-known things together. And I posted those on DeviantArt in my gallery, and I was actually confronted by Joel Hodgson by email. He got in contact with me and said he really liked those caricatures, and that was something that you know really meant a lot to me because I made these as kind of like my own way to say thank you to for being such comedic geniuses and keeping me and a lot of people happy and to say the least. I mean, these are just this is just something I do. I like to make cartoon drawings of things that I really like, and it also goes with a lot of other things that I really enjoy. It's my way of saying thank you, and I try to use my talent to sort of drive that home. But yeah, the email that Joel gave me was just like really nice. He talked to me for a little bit about stuff that he's been working on, which I'm not going to discuss on here. And he, it was just a really nice thing to hear from someone that I really admired. And also, Comic Con, I can't remember what year, but it was a huge year. I think it was like probably the 20th anniversary of Mystery Science Theater, and the whole crew was there, all of them, and they made big announcements like Joel was going to have Cinematic Titanic, and Mike was going to go on to Riff Tracks, and those were like big announcements, and I was really privileged to be in the audience when that happened. Um, uh, there was another a funny story. There was another Comic Con where Riff Tracks held a panel, and I actually went up and asked a question to Bill because he had me blocked on Twitter, and for some reason, I thought I would confront him uh, during the panel and told him like, "Can you? I admire you very deeply. I don't know if I even said that. I admire you deeply. Could you please unblock me from your list?" And this is probably recorded somewhere, but so it's public knowledge. That was me. I asked Bill Corbett on a panel to please block me on Twitter, which he eventually did, which was nice because I think someone mentioned to him that I was the guy that drew the caricatures of them, which I had signed by all of them, and I have it framed in the living room, which is another great thing. Meeting these people, I mean, meeting them and showing them my artwork to sign, and I also gave them a print as well. They having that feedback of them telling me that what I was doing was awesome is just more than I could ever ask for. I'm just a silly cartoonist. I do videos. So that's a funny story. And later on, I was working with Joel, which was another privilege, and we did a couple things together. Unfortunately, I could not keep up with it because I have other things that I had to pursue, especially I have a day job. I work in animation. I don't know if any of you know that. I do work in animation. I have been working in animation for 10 years now, actually, which is another thing that I'll probably discuss in another vlog. But yeah. Um, so yeah, Mystery Science Theater is just like something really, it just means a lot to me. And now it's like they're still going. I am so glad Riff Tracks and Mike and Bill and Kevin have decided to continue on doing movies, riffing on movies that are, the terrible movies. I personally didn't really like the I guess the riffing on blockbuster movies and stuff like that. It just didn't really have the same impact, at least to me. I know a lot of people enjoyed that, but for me, I'd rather see a crappy old black and white movie get its day than something that everyone already knows about, like X-Men or what's another thing, Jurassic Park. Yeah, I really love the direct to video or direct download, direct streaming. I don't know what they call it. They change it every year, but I love those. And if you really want to check those out, go to rifftracks.com. And another one, Film Crew. They did Film Crew before that, which was only 4 DVDs. I wish they kind of continued that, but at the same time, it didn't really have the same impact as I feel Mystery Science Theater did. In that regard, Cinematic Titanic, which was something that Joel did with Trace, Frank, Mary Jo Peele, and J. Elvis Weinstein, uh, that they were doing things in front of the camera and as silhouettes to try to kind of bring that Mystery Science Theater feel back. And it took a while to get back into the game, but I can't help but find those hilarious. They started doing those things live. Some of my favorite ones, Tiki Danger on Tiki Island, and East Meets Watts, and what was the other one? But there's a lot of them. There's quite a few. You should look them up. Cinematic Titanic. But they unfortunately they stopped that. And yeah, I just can't help but continuously watch Mystery Science Theater while I'm working in the background, and I'm always quoting Mystery Science Theater even more than I do the early Simpsons episodes, which is something quite unheard of, honestly. But yeah, I just wanted to express my eternal gratitude toward the people of Mystery Science Theater. That they mean a lot to me in my life, and they mean a lot to other people too. So, pardon me. Yeah, it's strange how such things make such an impact on people. Like me, I'm I'm just a cartoonist. In other news, now we're going to move along. I have been to my mom's place and went in the shed where we have like a ton of stuff from my childhood, and I found this. This is an unmailed letter to Electronic Gaming Monthly that I don't know. I think I feel like I did mail it at some point and forgot about it or something. But this is like jam packed with stuff that I didn't. I probably shouldn't have mailed, and I'm glad I didn't. I have like these little artist cards. Oh my god, I was age 12 when I mailed this? Okay, well, I opened this up. Uh, it's pre-opened, and I have like these cards of artwork. I don't know if you can see these. It's probably way too blurry. Uh, this is artwork that I made when I was 12. I have no idea what this is trying to symbolize. It has nothing to do with video games. It's just a bunch of characters doing weird things. Uh, but then I have things like this. This was an idea that I had called Parody Panic, and it was kind of like I was really into Gradius at the time, and I was also into Karopi. Yeah, Sanrio was a big impact in my artistic career. If you notice, this looks like a Super Nintendo cover or a Super Nintendo box cover. So it has all these little characters on there, and I'm glad I found these because for the longest time I I remember in the back of my mind I drew something like this. And the characters that I do have right now are basically remnants of this. So that's it. And also there's a card that says Arrow Cats on it. I don't know if it's blank. That's all it says, Arrow Cats. I don't know what that is. Perhaps my friend knows. But I drew like all these little characters. I guess these are like enemies of some sort. And if you notice, a lot of these characters kind of look close to the what was it called? Cosmo Gang video. If you should see my video if you haven't. These look kind of like Cosmo Gang characters, don't they? That's probably where I got the inspiration because I played that game in the arcade at a very young age. And there's more. This is probably from inspired by Galaga. And I even made like items. I made items for these things. There's like a happy face gun. I have no idea. There's a rocket. What is this? Two shot. Yeah, it's a two shot. It's basically my inspiration from Galaga and all that. So here's some more. Some more things. It's pretty cool. Doesn't that look like Wacko down there? It's funny digging this stuff up. Oh my god, I even made bonus stages. I was going to send these to Electronic Gaming Monthly, a magazine that would probably have nothing, it would want nothing to do with this. But I was age 12 and I thought like, hey, maybe if I sent something to a gaming magazine, they would make a game out of it. That was my mentality at the time. I have no idea. Here's Master Angus. I'm guessing this is the final boss. He is worth only 800 hit points. Oh wait, yeah, he's 800 hit points. I didn't know what hit points meant. I just wrote it down. So he's 800 hit points. He's the master boss, Master Angus. So that was in this letter. Which, if you notice, I was also very into Sonic the Hedgehog. I would not stop drawing him, and he's holding the Chaos Emeralds. This is probably when Sonic 3 came out, So, let's take a look here. I have a letter written. I have not looked at this. I just freshly opened this. Sonic Specials. Oh my god. What is this? Look at this mess. I have no idea what this is. There's a bunch of codes here. Alright. What I'm basically saying. As you know, Sonic 1 can't be used for Sonic and Knuckles, but if you press A, B, and C buttons at the same time, you suddenly see a level options. Choose start the level or passwords. Start lets you begin the previous level that you're at. You are is spelt wrong. And here are the passwords. So I have passwords for level 2 to 17. And for some reason I felt this was knowledge that had to be shared. Because I think in that mentality, when I was a kid, I would see the code section of a magazine, and they would have a name of the person that would, I guess, would send it in. And I figured if I mailed it in, mailed something that I found out about, they would publish my name into this code section of some sort. Okay, whenever you're finished with two ends, with the 17th level, you'll have to deal with more stages that have no passwords. You're on your own now. This is me at age 12. Okay. That's funny. But yeah, it wasn't a letter. It wasn't... And I don't know why I included these things in it. I don't mention it. I don't... I guess I didn't think, like, here, have these. I'm not doing anything with them. Make a game out of it. That's really... That's bizarre. I mean, I don't remember what my mentality was at the time. Maybe I didn't mail it in because I found out the next magazine they actually had that password thing in it. But this was sealed, so it was gonna get mailed. I just didn't have a stamp on it. So, but yeah, that's those are my stories. I hope you enjoyed my talk about Mystery Science Theater and shared with you a little of my childhood. And now I'm off to new business. And I hope you've stuck around for this because this is pretty important. A couple of years ago, I started a webcomic starring characters that I've had since I was in high school. And I always wanted to do something with them. And I did eventually for a while. It lasted about more than 40 pages, I believe. And I had to stop it because I was in the midst of moving, and I got a new job, and things got a little bit hectic. And then as time went on, I found myself moving further and further away from it, and people kept on asking me about it. It's like, when are you going to bring it back? So last year, before the New Year's, I said to myself, if I don't reach a certain number, I kind of gambled with myself. This is the funny thing about it. If I don't reach a certain number in my subscribers by New Year's, I said I was going to commit to this and make it my resolution. And sure enough, that happened. So this entire month of January, I worked with my friend and discussed it, and this has been on my mind for months, honestly, and I've been wanting to continue it for the longest time, trust me. This isn't just a one-day concept. So, I finally decided I'm bringing back the Roomies. And that's going to happen starting today. So I started a Patreon for the Roomies specifically, and by now the new website should be up, and I should also have the first page up, which is a continuation of it. I'm not redoing anything. The only thing that's really different is the style. I mean, you'll probably notice it when you look at it. But if you go to roomiescomic.net, you will see the continuation of the webcomic that is pretty near and dear to me. And, if you don't like it, that's fine, but I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, and if you haven't heard about it and you're seeing it for the first time, well, I hope you enjoy because and this doesn't mean that Electronic Heroes is going away either. I'm also working on a new episode for this month. They're just not going to be as frequent. I'm trying to commit to myself to do at least one episode a month. And from here on, you'll also see vlogs, and this will be a weekly ongoing comic, so one page a week. So yeah, I'm honestly really pumped, and I hope everyone's excited for that. So here's to 2015, everyone. Take care. Oh, also be excellent to each other.